Can I marry my potential stepsister? I am not the Oop is you sibling marriage help. Can I marry my potential stepsister? Originally posted to our legal advice. Trigger warning: controlling behavior, emotional abuse, fears of incest, possible stalking. Original post November 19, 2017. About 4 months ago, I proposed to my girlfriend. We had been dating for several years, and she accepted. We started planning for our wedding soon after, and sent out invitations a couple weeks ago. Me and my mother don't get along, and I went no contact with her a year ago. But today she called me and told me that we could not get married. I asked why, and she said she is dating my girlfriend's father, and that once they got married, we would have to separate since incest is illegal and she would be my stepsister. I asked my girlfriend when she got home, and she asked her father. It turns out that they have been dating for almost a year now, and although he has known me for several of years, he didn't realize he was dating my mother because my mother has the last name of her most recent husband. She's been married 5 times. I was fathered by her second husband. He showed my mother the wedding invitation, and I guess she decided to break the news to me before him. My girlfriend and I love each other, and we both want to stay together, but we are worried there might be a shotgun wedding to prevent us from getting married. My potential stepfather has said he will have to collect his feelings to figure out how to approach this. He said he wasn't planning on proposing anytime soon, but we're worried my mother might pressure him into this to try and spite me now that she knows about his daughter and I. I hope that he breaks up with her, but if they are indeed a match, it is a horrible thought to want them to be separated. If our parents get married first, will we be unable to? Would there be any consequences if we were to have children without getting married if we are step-siblings? If we were to marry first, would it still be fine for our parents to marry later on? Should we just go to wherever they do marriage licenses and get married now but still do the ceremony in a few months as originally planned? Or are we doomed to be forcibly separated regardless? Edit: I'm in New York. Sorry. Edit again. Thank you guys so much for the advice. We are so happy that we don't have to worry about this anymore. But getting married at the courthouse or wherever they do marriage licenses before then is likely what we will do for peace of mind. And seeing as our 4th year anniversary is coming up next week, we'll probably do it then. Relevant comments there. Aldar Keserk: incest laws work on blood relation. You're fine. Oop. That's a huge relief. Wouldn't be the first time my mom has lied, probably to try and exert power over me since I don't depend on her anymore. There Aldar Keserk. I'd personally not tell her, continue on the course, and see what she does. But I'm a little bit prone to schadenfreude when someone malevolently screws themselves. Top comments post fact. There's no law against marrying a step-sibling. It's not a blood relative relationship. See this? It's not incest, so there's no legal, moral or biological problems with marrying. It's similar to a sister marrying a brother-in-law. Just because the words sister and brother are used to describe a relationship by marriage, that doesn't make it illegal or even wrong. Cricket 223 went to a wedding where newly step-siblings got married. The families were close and the parents got together after their divorces. Only difference was We Are Family was banned for the DJ. Update: November 24, 2017. 5 days later. For those who missed it, this was the original post before the bot asks location is New York. So, it's been a wild week. I would have posted this sooner, but I was spending Thanksgiving with my now wife and her father. We got married this week with my now father-in-law as witness, and my father-in-law has now separated from my mother after learning what an insane, manipulative piece of shit she was. With this weight lifted from our shoulders, we're the typical honeymoon phase lovebirds. We haven't even had our honeymoon yet. But, it's not all good news. Since my mother called me, she realized I didn't know her work number, so after my father-in-law told her it was over, she called me repeatedly and harassed me about how I was ruining her life and that she would file for divorce on our behalf and insisted you all were wrong about step-siblings being allowed to marry until I finally figured out how to block that number. She also borrowed someone else's phone and called me on that, so I blocked that number, too. She hasn't tried any other phones yet, but I expect she will until I change my number again. My father-in-law is also sad over all this. He said leaving her was the smart thing to do and for the best, but he's having a hard time coping. I don't blame him, of course, but I know I'd feel like shit if I was in the same situation. At least he didn't have to see my mom at her worst. So, thank you all for all of your advice. My wife and I are very happy about starting a family next year after we get married in our church. I'm glad I didn't rush into marriage like my mother. She got divorced and married another guy in the same year when I was 10. And we feel we made the right call getting the marriage license out of the way now so she can start the name change process before the wedding. I've been compiling phone numbers to call since my wife is taking my last name, and I never realized just how much work this involves. Have a great rest of your Thanksgiving, guys. Top comments from Bo LA. Zachis Kevop's father-in-law didn't just dodge a bullet, he jumped out of the path of a runaway train. Soros eyes Soros plant. A bullet train? Eats lemons. Just imagine being the father-in-law. Regardless of if he was in love or not, finding out that someone only dated you for a year just to try and pull one over on their son would be devastating. Also, good job. Your father-in-law will come around, just make sure you two are there for him. I hope you have a wonderful, fulfilling marriage. Sore thumb. I love the idea that she can file for divorce on someone else's behalf. Further, she's no longer going to be marrying the GF stat, so assuming her theory was correct, it isn't. It doesn't apply in this situation anyway. She sounds like a peach. Spoon elemental. What the fuck? Did she stalk her son and find out who his girlfriend's dad was just so she could do this and try to take away his happiness? Scenefish. This is what I was wondering, having seen some of the ridiculous shenanigans some psycho parents get up to in the various Just No subs as mentioned elsewhere. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility. This is a repost sub. I am not the OOP. Do not contact the OOPs or comment on linked posts. Remember Rule 7.